In today's episode, we bring you daily news from Europe. We've selected the most important topics and we'll cover each in about 2 minutes because we value your time. But first, please support the channel by liking and subscribing if you haven't already. It helps grow this daily European news channel and, even more importantly, helps you stay informed because tomorrow's news may change your life. Even if today seems calm, tomorrow everything might shift. Today we'll discuss the alarming criminal situation in Germany, how Berlin is descending into clan criminality, the country's growing budget deficit that could exceed 170 billion euros by 2029, and how European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is trying to deceive Donald Trump with promises the EU cannot fulfill. These events show how rapidly European reality is changing and what challenges the continent faces under new geopolitical conditions. From the criminal situation in the German capital to trade negotiations with the US, these are all parts of one big picture of Europe's transformation. The interconnected nature of these crises reveals something profound about the current state of European institutions and their ability to handle both domestic and international challenges in an increasingly complex world. So yeah, Germany has officially acknowledged what many already suspected. Across the country, the number of serious crimes is rapidly increasing, especially those involving knives and sharp weapons. But what's even more alarming is the sharp rise in cases involving firearms. Berlin, the nation's capital, is being swept by a real wave of armed crimes. Benjamin Gendro, representative of the Berlin Police Union, declared that shootouts are mainly concentrated in the clan environment. A significant portion of all shootouts and conflicts occur in the Neukölln district. The phrase criminal clans in Germany seemed impossible just recently. Now these words are heard more and more frequently. Clan criminality, which was previously associated with other regions of the world, has firmly established itself in the heart of Europe. Parallel to criminal problems, authorities are discussing sharp tax increases. The reason is a huge budget deficit that could exceed 170 billion euros by 2029. Finance Minister Lars Klingbeil presented a plan including tax reforms and spending cuts. One proposal is to introduce a digital tax on online platforms. New borrowing by 2029 could reach almost 847 billion euros. Interest on debts is growing, especially due to pandemic-era loans. All ministries will have to economize. Besides cutting costs, they're discussing new revenue sources to address this unprecedented fiscal challenge. The criminal situation in Germany isn't just statistics, it's a symbol of deeper problems. When law-abiding citizens hear about clan criminality in Berlin, they understand something has gone wrong with the European integration model. It's interesting how quickly the perception of safety changes. Just a few years ago, Germany was considered one of the world's safest countries. Now police openly talk about shootouts in the capital. This isn't panic, this is acknowledging reality. Clan criminality isn't chaotic violence. It's an organized system that creates parallel power structures. When such structures take root, they begin competing with the state for control over territories. The budget crisis only worsens the situation. The state is forced to economize on social programs and security precisely when these areas need additional funding. This is the paradox of modern Europe. The more problems there are, the less money there is to solve them. Digital taxes sound modern, but in practice it's an attempt to squeeze money where it's easier to collect. Online platforms can't simply leave the country like traditional corporations do. The timing couldn't be worse. As Germany faces internal security challenges, it simultaneously grapples with fiscal constraints that limit its response options. This creates a dangerous cycle where problems compound rather than resolve. Now to high-level diplomatic games. German media received information from the European Commission. Ursula von der Leyen offered Donald Trump conditions that the European Union is actually incapable of fulfilling. Brussels will not buy American fracking gas in the incredible volumes it promised. The EU cannot force European companies to invest in the United States. The same applies to the multi-billion-dollar purchases of American weapons that Trump expects. Von der Leyen's deal increasingly resembles a trick by her predecessor Jean-Claude Juncker. In 2018, to prevent high tariffs, Juncker promised Trump that the EU would buy lots of American soybeans. He preferred not to mention that he himself couldn't decide such matters because soybean imports are the business of individual countries and companies. This time Trump proved more attentive. After meeting with von der Leyen, he specifically asked EU representatives, How can the White House be sure that European companies will invest in the US according to the deal's terms? EU representatives assured him that plans to invest $600 billion in the US are real. Trump replied simply, "Prove it." This time he demands more guarantees. However, who should do what and how much remains unclear even to EU member state governments. German Economy Minister Katharina Reiche admits she doesn't know what portion of investments should come from German companies and which ones specifically. Deception diplomacy is a dangerous game, especially with a partner like Trump. Von der Leyen tried to buy time with promises she cannot fulfill. But the American president learned from his first-term experience. German Economy Minister Katharina Reiche honestly admits she doesn't know what portion of investments should come from German companies and which ones specifically. European officials have no plans for specific purchases of American weapons. This is an admission of complete unpreparedness for serious negotiations. The European Union has fallen into a trap of its own bureaucracy. Brussels can promise anything but cannot force private companies to invest or buy. The EU isn't a command economy where officials decide where to direct capital. Trump understands this weakness of the European system and exploits it. When he realizes the deal doesn't meet expectations, threats of high tariffs will return. The US is already showing how this works using Canada as an example. After Canada's statement supporting Palestinian statehood, Trump immediately warned this would complicate trade negotiations. Tariffs as a foreign policy tool represent the new reality of American diplomacy. The fundamental problem is that the EU operates on consensus and soft power, while Trump's America operates on leverage and hard bargaining. These approaches are fundamentally incompatible, making genuine agreements increasingly difficult to achieve. Support the channel and subscribe if you haven't yet. It's important for the growth of this daily news format, and for you personally, because tomorrow may bring a story that directly affects your life. We live in an era when diplomatic promises turn into bluffs and criminal statistics become political factors. Germany fights clan criminality and budget deficits simultaneously. The European Union tries to bargain with America using currency it doesn't possess. These processes are connected more strongly than they appear. The weakness of European institutions manifests both in the inability to control crime and in the inability to fulfill international obligations. When a state cannot ensure order within its own country, it cannot be a reliable partner on the international stage. Trump understands this and exploits it. His question, "Prove it," isn't just skepticism, it's a demand to back words with actions. Europe has grown accustomed to diplomacy of beautiful statements without concrete obligations. The new reality requires a different approach. The time of political tricks is ending. The time of real decisions and their consequences is beginning. European leaders must choose between maintaining comfortable illusions and confronting uncomfortable truths about their continent's changing position in the world.